Some travel far and wide for it, but they don't even realize that the love is on the inside. She said she'll love you forever. She said he'll be there no matter the weather. Don't trust in man, even to the land, but the land is at hand.
Family. Family, we're here. What's going on, everybody? I pray that everybody's doing amazing tonight. We are live. Let's see who's on for the first time. Church. So for those of you who are thinking that we're about to pray, this is not your stream tonight. This is not the praying stream. But I want to know, can y'all hear us tonight? Let me know if you guys can hear us. Let me see. Julius, what's going on, man? Good to see you, cuz. Family is on. How are you? Let me see who else is on. Jalen, God bless you. Good to see you on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Sally is on. The people are on. God bless you. God bless you. God. Hey, Sally. So, like, between Pastor T's page, well, do we have to do titles tonight?
Oh,
No?
there's no titles in the house.
Okay.
Well,
Not those titles. Not those titles. Okay. Down
already
Cunningham.
cutting up.
Down Cunningham said this isn't the prayer line.
No.
This is not, we're not going to be talking about prayer themes tonight. Not those type of prayer themes. Hallelujah. Jalen says she loves us. Love you too. Sally, we love you too. So we're on like my page and her page, but we can see everybody all together. So whether you're on my page or her page, we're here live. Shamika. Hey, Shamika. Hey, who else?
Shamika.
Whitney Thomas said, we can hear.
Hey, this
I don't know who that is.
makeup artist. She actually did my makeup for one of my job events. So, hey, Ladybug.
What's up? See, Jalen's acting like this is prayer, and I love it. You see how she's sharing?
She's consistent.
Can y'all do me a favor? Can you do as Jalen is doing and like,
She's consistent.
share, tag somebody? It's going to be a fun night. This is a really, really good night. Who else is on? Janelle is on. Good to see you, Janelle. Listen, if you guys didn't know, we launched a YouTube channel. If you did not know, it is on Facebook. Our YouTube channel is a Williams to Remember. So if you get a chance, guys, like try to follow us because we're going to be putting up exclusive content there. It is called a Williams to Remember right there on YouTube. See, this is real life. This is our life. You see how T went to go change the baby around. This is life. Let me see who else is on. Edna Grant, how are you? Helen, how are you? Who else is this? Michelle Didworth. Good to see you, Dilworth. Good to see you. Diana, good to see you. Naomi is here. Good to see you. Naomi's out of town, but it's good to see you. Janelle is here. Make sure that Carlos is here too.
She said we look good. Thank you, Janelle.
Yeah.
You say we look good. We look good.
Priscilla, come on. Who else is?
Hi, Priscilla.
Lynette.
New life is in the house.
Lynette.
Hi, Lynette.
Yeah, the people are on. Okay, so who?
Dion. Hey, beautiful.
Danielle. Oh my goodness.
Danielle. Hi.
Okay, this is so good. This is so good. Tanya is in the building. My sister Imani. She says I'm here for the cut up. Imani already knows we are here to cut up. We're gonna cut up tonight, so it's gonna be a fun night. Andrea Birches Miller is on. Good to see Andrea. Valerie. Who else? Francina. Who else? Kendra. Who else?
Kendra.
Naomi says she's from North Carolina. Oh, she's in North Carolina. Good to see you. Sam I Am is on. Good to see you. Wendy said power couple. Yeah. Thank you so much. Let me see. Okay. Mommy, she said hi. Hello. Hi, Mama. Listen, we're excited. Who's this? This is Jenny from the block. Jenny Baldwin is on.
Hey, Jenny.
Not from the block, but in the pews. Praise the Lord.
I hate that.
All right, so let's have a good time.
Jenny from the pews. No, we're not gonna move so fast. We're not gonna move that fast, actually. Jenny from the pews.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, I'll pray for my husband.
All right, so listen, this is called Our Love Story. This is Love on Live. In case y'all didn't know, like, what we're doing, we're still trying to figure out what we're doing. But we knew that this is something that we wanted to do, not just to tell our love story, but there's been a lot of people who've been like, hey, why don't you guys, like, come on and talk about your journey and, you know, what have you learned from it? Our life has been a whirlwind in the last year and a half, yeah. And so things have been crazy. So listen, we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about some amazing things. So we just want to engage you guys and just throw out some fun facts in the beginning. So fun facts. Let's talk. Let's see how well you guys know us and we got some family on here, so I may have to disqualify my mother from answering some questions because she knows probably all of them. But let's drum roll. Number one, first question.
How many years have we known each other?
Okay, let's see what they say in the chat. How many years?
Survey says.
How many years have we known each other? Okay, let me see what you guys say. Kid just said, "Come on, graphics." Diana said 15 years. Sally said 3 years. Danielle said 6 years. Mommy said I won't answer. All right, come on. How many years have we known each other? We got 6, we got 3, 10 years. Okay, 7 years, Sam says. Francina says 8 years. Naomi, 8. Oh, Juan Garcia is on. 10.
What's up, Juan?
17.
17 years?
That's crazy.
My Lord.
8 years. Okay. I'm gonna let my baby answer this question. I love this.
Survey says 6 years.
And you win an applause.
Not an applause.
So we've known each other for 6 years. I've learned to let my wife answer because I don't want to say the wrong number and me get chopped up later. So.
Oh, this might be a good insert that picture.
Oh yeah. Okay. So.
Oh wait, am I jumping in?
No, it's cool. This is cool.
I'm jumping it.
No, this is cool.
No, not yet. No,
this is fun. We were looking a little raggedy. This is when we first met each other. If you notice, we look a little crazy because T and I just finished preaching at an event, and we'll give that story in a little bit.
Talk about it.
But yeah, this is the picture when we first met each other. Sam said, "What if we were close?" This is when we first met each other. We're gonna tell the story in a second, but yeah, really fun fact. All right, so let's do fun fact number 2. Okay, let's go here. I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing off the screen. See,
Lord.
this is,
Can you double click it?
huh?
Can you click it off?
I don't know. Can I click it off? How do I okay, no, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, here it is. Boom. All right, number 2. Number 2.
Rookies.
All right. Yeah,
Rookies. We're rookies.
Yeah, this is bad.
sorry.
See? All right, fun fact number 2 is... Okay, fun fact number 1, fun fact number 2. The question as, what was the date of our wedding? Some of y'all were there. Francina said, zoom in for people that wear glasses. Janelle said they look exactly the same. I don't know if that's a compliment or... Sally says September 28th, 2023. Deanna says September 9th. Yeah, that was kind of easy.
Not really.
No?
We got
November?
November 15. We got 28th.
Denise says September 9th. September 9th. Okay. September 9th. Y'all got it. That was kind of easy. That was kind of easy. All right. Yeah, look. Juan Garcia, you were gigging that day.
Right. He's like, I remember that.
All right, number 3 in the last one, because most of y'all were at this wedding. All right, number 3. Yes, that's my birthday, Sally. Fun fact number 3. What is our son's full name? As he's looking at us right now. What is his full
Juan
name?
said that was a lit wedding.
Lit in Jesus' name. No, it was an amazing wedding. All right, what is our son's full name?
I am can't answer.
Full name. Shaquan says John Carl. Jay Smith said John Carl Alexander. These are both wrong. John Carl Alexander. Alexis J. Williams wrong. Child of God Williams. This is his name.
Child of God Williams.
Child of God Williams is crazy. Yeah, I don't know.
John Carl Alexander Williams.
Okay, so tell our baby's name.
I think Denise is on it. Go Denise. New life in the house. John Carl Alexander Williams.
That is his name. And so, listen, I'm really excited. Tonight's gonna be like a fun night. We're gonna just kind of talk about some really good things. His name is Baby Prophet. I love all of it. Baby Prophet. I love all the names. So listen, this is going to be fun. We're going to just really, the goal of tonight is to tell our story, but also to kind of let you guys know some of the lessons that we learned. I think that when people see a story and see a narrative, they can kind of think, oh my God, you had such a great engagement. It was so smooth. It's just the way things happen. But there is, let's just say the scripture says weeping endures for a night. Joy comes in the morning. There was a lot of weeping. There was a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of lost expectations. There was a lot of heartbreak in our story. There was a lot of distraction. There was a lot of, what else?
Everything but fantasy.
It was not a fantasy. And then sometimes, like, when you present stuff, you present your best representatives. But our story, we are like really committed to being transparent, raw, and honest with you guys. And so, it's just gonna be like, I don't know, should we do this? Like,
What is that?
should we do this? Like, should we be honest, and should we?
Of course, that's why we're here. This is our 1 year anniversary, and so we thought it'd be great to share. We have had people ask us, or not only ask us about our story, but also tell us that it has been very inspiring. But as Pastor
Come on, you
as my husband has said,
The man of
we want
God.
to put the real out there, because we live in a day and a culture, right? We put everything that is glamorous out.
Yeah.
But oftentimes you don't hear the full story. You hear about the victory, but you don't often hear about how you got there. And so we want to be an open book, and to let you know that our story is not perfect. I don't know what story is perfect. The only story that is perfect is the one that is in alignment with God's will.
She preaching already.
And that does not mean that it is, what we see is all good. So we want to encourage some of you, inspire some of you. So tonight's goal, as he said, is to do just that. And we have some topics and things that we're going to talk about. What happened?
Janelle said, not you having a second thoughts, Pastor. I mean, we committed. We literally had to sit down and say, okay, what are we going to tell? What are we not going to tell? And we said, we just gotta tell the truth.
Transparent.
Gotta be transparent. Yeah. So let's start this off with, how did we meet? For some of you who did not see part of our wedding video, or just kind of how we met, we're just gonna play this for you guys, and then we're gonna come back and talk and dialogue. We'll see you in a sec.
My first encounter with Tian was, she used to sing with this group back in the day. And I just found her incredibly annoying. Like, I used to see her dance, I was like, why don't they just let the other girls sing?
I met Alex at a youth conference at Pilgrim, actually, and he had to preach to the young men, I had to preach to the young women, and it's the funniest thing because we both had the, instructions kind of twisted up.
The guy who had me to speak told me it was just a dialogue and just to talk to the men. So I came with my, my best A.R. Bernard.
He kind of gave this TED talk, Joel Osteen it was great, but it was on that vibe.
She got up there and she says, well, I didn't know we were supposed to teach. I got a message, and she went Juanita Bynum on us.
And I preached, okay?
And I spoke for 10 minutes, and while I'm speaking, everybody's like this, like in a lecture hall, and then when she preaches, everybody's falling out.
Seats went up, carpet was tore up, we just went up in God.
And I was pretty upset.
He came to me and was like, that was not cool. Nothing was cool about that.
But that started an amazing relationship.
And literally from then, we just became the best of friends.
That was fun.
So we only had showed a clip of it. Our video is up on our pages. You can see the full extent. But in this dialogue, we're bringing up like 1 or 2 clips of that video. But that is how we met. That's the picture you saw at Pilgrim. That's another fun fact. We met at, well, that was our official greeting. We actually met at Kyle Pensil had a prayer thing happening, and
First of all, I'm still mad about this preaching thing,
okay.
but I redeemed
6
myself.
years later.
I redeemed myself. Imani says, so holy, y'all met at a preaching engagement, at each other's preaching engagements. Yes. Well, for me, it wasn't a preaching engagement. For me, it was a talking engagement. If it was a preaching engagement. But it's so funny because, like, when we met, we kind of started getting to know each other just as friends. I was actually, Tremar saying still mad, redeem myself. I actually did redeem myself, but we don't have time to talk about this tonight. We'll talk about it on the next stream of how I redeemed myself. But when we first met, was I in a relationship? I think I was dating. No? No. When we first met, I actually was broken up from the person that I was dating. And we just became cool. And then all of a sudden, like, we started hitting it off, talking and speaking every day. But it's funny because we put on the bottom attraction versus dating preferences because, to be honest, if Tiwi and I would be honest, like, we weren't each other's preference.
We were not each other's preference. My preference was dark skin. You know, I'll just leave it there.
Come on, Cletus.
You know, dark skin, little height on them, and you know, good look. But see, you good looking, so you passed that test.
Jay Baldwin says,
You passed that test.
said, my Lord. Yeah, see, the flesh. And so, okay, so honestly, yeah, my preference was, you know, it wasn't necessarily chocolate. It was the opposite. So I had a different preference. You know, brothers, if you want to be honest, we all have our certain type, right? And so I had that type. And the main thing is that my type wasn't a preacher. I'll be honest, the preacher thing kind of turned me off a little bit. Carlos said dark skin betrayal. Yeah, the whole preacher thing, like, I've seen a lot of Chris Kenny said this is super dope. Love you, man. Congratulations. She just got engaged too.
Congrats.
So, like, I didn't want to date a preacher because I felt like I didn't want to come home to Juanita Bynum. I didn't want to come home to T. Renee Glenn. I didn't want to come home to Jackie Gates, and, you know, and I love all these women of God. Mm-hmm. But I did not want to do that. I wanted to come home to somebody that when I did my church thing, then I could come home to somebody.
He wanted to come to somebody who was out in these streets. Tell the truth. He wanted them pastors that.
I just didn't want nobody, like, praying. I'm trying to, like, take you out and try to, you know, hang out.
Hang out. You see?
Hey, you wanna. I'm like, nah, it's not time for that. So I thought, honestly, I've only seen her from afar, so I've always seen her on fire for the Lord, and I thought it was great. But I was like, man, so the first time I saw her, she's like, hey, we saw each other at the prayer event, and she's like, hey, what's up? I did all this stuff. I was like, oh yeah, let's connect. And I was like, hey sis, yo, I sister.
All right. And which is fine.
It
was unnecessary, but it was fine. You did sis me. And
you know, you have to
later
make it
on,
clear.
you see, he insists though. That's all we got worry about. He insists. Okay. Anyway, so
you were Sister Tien
I
in
was
the beginning.
I was Sister
You were
Tien.
Sister Tien.
I was
We
Sister
gave
Tien.
each
I
other
was like,
that.
all right, got it, no problem. But yet he was still in my DMs, okay? But anyway, that's another story. Equally, I never thought I would marry a pastor. I was not interested in anybody's pastor. If anybody knew me, you know, prior to him, you know me very well. First of all, I never thought about preaching. I never thought about ministry. I was not, you know, I was in the artistic side of things. But anyway, I did not want to marry a preacher. I did not want to marry a pastor. So it's funny because prior to him, it was almost like God was introducing me to pastors.
Which meant that you started dating pastors.
Uh-huh.
You're like three guys before you were preachers, right?
Well, it's close. Close.
Yeah,
So
the Lord started breaking me down with these previous relationships before him, or at least inquiries.
So Sally makes a good point. She says it's not our plan as God's, because there is a difference between like attraction and preferences. Because to be honest,
Yeah.
we were attracted to each other, spirit wise, personality wise, virtue wise. Just like I saw myself in her, she saw herself in me, all that stuff. But this wasn't like, and when I say preferences, I'm not talking about like this, the preferences of marriage, or like, this is like checking off dating preferences, like aesthetics, exterior, external. Like, she's a preacher, maybe I want to be with a preacher. And so this is kind of like superficial things that we're talking about. And so I think for people who are watching here, like sometimes you have to just be open.
Be open.
Be open.
Be open. If I had not been open, and I think prior to him, I started opening things up, right? Let's be real.
Not everything.
Not everything.
You didn't open up everything.
Not everything. My God. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
Wait,
you know,
what'd you say?
nothing.
Okay, finish.
Nothing at
Wendy
all.
said September 9th. She gonna have to refresh her
September
page.
9th.
You're a little further in the Come on.
Would you stop? Wendy, that's right. September 9th is when we got married, sis.
Anyway, so I don't remember what I was talking about. Preferences.
You talking about how you weren't open.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't open before, but you know, I started to consider things that were outside of my norm, and pastors was one of them. Even though there was no intention, it was kind of like, man, I started to observe how my circle was changing.
Wow.
And so, you know, we're talking about our personal experiences, but there are things and nuggets that you can gain out of it. Be open, right, to what's happening around you and who you're starting to connect with, who you're starting to disconnect from, because you never know. God may be opening up your preferences, and taking down some of those walls to be able to, you know, be open to who God has for you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some people on here that said, hey, the person that they're married to or dating is not their preference, but you never know, like literally, you never know what God has for you. And if I would have been stuck and married to my preferences, then I wouldn't be married to my promise. Woo, I felt that.
You better
You see how I did
iterate up in here. You better
that? You
iterate.
see how I
up in
did that? You
here.
see how the Lord did that? If I would have been married to my preference, I wouldn't be married to my purpose.
That's good.
Yeah.
Y'all could
See, we're preachers. This is gonna come out.
It's gonna come out. We could y'all could tweet that or whatever we do these days.
Warren said preach.
So how do we start? Oh, go ahead. What you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, like, with Warren being on here, like, he's a really good friend of mine and of my wife's, and to be honest, we didn't have a easy road to this.
Yeah, not at all.
Warren can kind of talk about it. Like, so let's just talk about some of our biggest challenges.
Within dating. So how do we get there though? How do we get to dating? We went from friends to now challenges in a relationship.
So what happened was we became cool, but then I ended up getting back with my girlfriend. And she's like, not up in here. She's like, not up in here.
Well, it was tough because we were really close, like really close
Yeah.
friends. We talked pretty often, and I was like, basically, this is not sustainable, because during that break in that period, we already were like, we're real cool. Like, all right. But anyway, you know, we kind of like pushed it in the back, but it was like Mary, I kept these things in my heart, pondered in my heart. And so, you know, out of respect, it was like, all right, well, I respect you going back to girlfriend, trying to see what things are. No worries at all.
Boundaries.
But we also can't be friends like that. Like boundaries. So we would talk like once a month, maybe. And then it kind of circled around where we were like, you know, enough space, maybe 4 or 5 months. We
Janelle said, what was her name? Let me leave.
Wow. No name calling here. No name calling here. And then, not you really leaving. But, so then, you know, after a while, we got some months had passed, and then we reconnected, as friends, and then started to, things began to get closer. I think that relationship was on its way out, kind of thing. But actually, prior to that, I was like, yeah, again, we're starting to get cool again. We gotta be out, right? I can no longer be friends with you. I actually had intended to like never talk to him again, actually.
My
Because
God.
it was one of those things where you like, we really just enjoy our friendship and enjoy, talking to each other.
I'm back.
We prayed, we laugh, we joke, and it was just like, we're just too cool. So yeah, this is not gonna work as us being friends. And so we kind of like went to part ways.
And then
And then
we reconnected.
when we reconnected, he was no longer with that person, and
Yeah, so we reconnected. We went out. Matter of fact, she kind of like went on a fast, and I went on a fast, or we were just kind of like in certain places.
I was on a fast.
Yeah, she's
And
always
you
on a
kept
fast.
interrupting my fast.
She's always on a fast. So after she came off the fast, we reconnected and we hung out one night. We went to Red Rooster in Harlem, and she did not know that I was single at the time.
I didn't know.
And because it's been a while since we spoke, and we hung out, and I had this shirt on looking like a Papi Chulo. And
You see, this is why our son, people think he's Spanish, because you giving very much Dominicana vibes. El barrio. Sally, where you at, Sally?
so yeah, so we hung out, and I told her I was single, and then we just kind of continued to talk, and we started hanging out a little bit, and then sooner or later,
we became official
we became official, and so
for about a good 3
yeah.
months,
No, stop. No, we're longer than that.
buddy. Before
Yeah.
no.
But we end up having some initial challenges, right? So, one of the obvious things was our age. So, for those of you who don't know, my wife is a little bit. No, let me just switch it, because I'm a little younger than my wife. We have 9.5 years apart. That's crazy. Now, the amazing thing is that she looks younger than me. Pastor done stressed me out. Praise the Lord. And so,
I'll bind this cougar
okay.
spirit.
Shaquan.
A cougar. Dang. Mama Quan, you supposed to be on my side.
See how she was on the prowl? No, I'm joking. No, but one of the let's talk about it. Like, age is a big thing, right? It's a huge
is.
factor. Like, we have 9 years apart, and so that's kind of like, Terry said, how long did y'all date before we made it official? It was a month, maybe. Oh, a little less than that.
Before we made it official?
Yeah, from that picture from Red Rooster on. It may have been like a month.
Yeah.
May have been a month. And Antoine said, no way, T looks like she's 30. She does. Isn't she amazing? It's my girl. She's amazing. She's amazing. You didn't. I just wanted to kind of
knocked your head off.
knock my. No, seriously, she looks amazing. And so T, for those of you, she's not hiding it. She literally is in her 40s, and I'm still in my 30s. So age was a big factor.
Thank you.
Ministry was a huge factor because, again, she didn't want to marry a pastor, and I did not. I didn't want to marry a female preacher. I just didn't want to. Ken just said, "Black don't crack." Cougar United. I can't. Black doesn't crack.
Cougars United is ridiculous.
Black don't crack unless you smoke it. Praise the Lord.
Right.
Y'all get that tomorrow. So we, like, that was a big thing. And then, in all seriousness, we had a prophecy, a couple of prophecies that threw us off. And so imagine us being full steam ahead. We're dating.
Somebody said there must be oil at Red Rooster. Let me get a date real quick.
There's mighty oil there.
Hilarious.
But like we literally started dating, and 3 months into it, first 3 months was bliss. Like we were like, she's like, this is my husband. I'm like, this is my
Cloud
wife.
nine.
Cloud 13, 14, 15. This
Yeah.
is like, yo, full throttle. We're going to get married. And then boom, we get a prophecy that says, this is, it came to me. This is not your wife. Now, in all fairness, that person that prophesied had a conversation, found out during the conversation of her age, found out during the conversation that she was also in ministry. So, you know, it was, oh, this person is an evangelist. She's never going to commit to your ministry. It's tough for an evangelist and a pastor to date and to marry because you have two different callings and two different goals. And then the second thing, the age. And then not and so this stuff started happening to me. So imagine two God-fearing people
Yeah.
who love the Lord, two God-fearing people who trust, who believe in prophecy, two God-fearing people. And it's funny what the person wasn't hating. The person wasn't jealous. The person wasn't ill intent. The person actually was sincere, but the person was sincerely, now we know, sincerely wrong. But what do you do when you believe and you trust the word of a prophet? And then I started getting reinforcement of this same thing to other people who wasn't an evangelist. There was some, I'm gonna be honest. Can we be honest?
Be honest.
I got advice from some pastors. One pastor said to me, hey, y'all gonna be fighting over the mic. Now, these are pastors. These are well-respected people. I had somebody that said, hey, prepare not to have children because of the age. And these are like pastors. I had somebody say to me, you want to be careful because of your wife's, and this is stuff that was said to me, not to her. Be careful of your wife's accelerated age because, you know, complications. So like imagine full steam ahead, like moving forward and then getting this to shatter our hopes and our future. And again, let me be very clear, y'all, because like these people who gave us these words or who gave me the words weren't trying to sabotage. And I'm talking about this is a well-seasoned, not a young person like trying to make a name for themselves. It's a respected voice. And so what do you do when a respected voice, a person who you know prophesies accurately, gives you a word that goes against what you believe that God is saying to you? And this is something that many of us who are on this line, prophecy is accurate. Prophecy is of the Lord. It is a gift of the Spirit. But the Bible says that we know in part and we prophesy in part.
Yeah.
But what do you do when you trust the word of a prophet that goes against what you know the Lord told you was right for your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. And imagine how it affected her.
Yeah, it was.
ahead.
Oh, it was devastating. Because you know, some people would say even now, you know, not even now, but at the
My
time.
mother said I wasn't that prophet.
Oh no, no, mommy was on it. She was on it the whole time. But it was devastating because for someone like myself, you know, I could have been married 10 times over, right? But I really wanted to be aligned with
Yeah.
the man that God had for me and that I really believed was for me. And when I met my husband, then friend, something just really clicked in my spirit. And so imagine after, you know, several, as we all do, go through many relationships, many heartbreaks, many challenges. But when you finally feel like you've met that person, you're ready to go, right? And for me, I did buy into a fantasy.
Yvette said, are we going to go, this is going to be a replay because I missed the whole, yeah, it'll be on our
you
YouTube
can,
channel.
yeah, you can go back. For me, I did believe in fantasy, right? I believe that, you know, I've been through so much, and when he arrives, we just gonna know, and he gonna put a ring on my finger, and we gonna get married and sail off into the sunset. And it was everything but that, and it caused me to it challenged me in believing, man, is this really who God has for me? Because if he is, we shouldn't be going through this. We shouldn't be going through that. We
Because it
shouldn't
should
be
look a
because
certain
it
way.
should look a certain way. And
Man,
so you
this
have
is
to
so
be
good.
really careful of what culture deems as the right way, not right way, but what it should look like in getting married, because you can be you can be led in the wrong way if you're not led by the Spirit of the Lord.
Yeah.
Because it was not God's will.
Or comparison, like comparing how somebody else came to marry their spouse versus you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you start to look at, oh, this person, like, and again, we're only seeing glimpses. We don't know the details of how people got where they got for us to be like, oh, I want it to look like that. So that's part of what, we want to be transparent about our relationship, because it was not roses. I cried a lot. And I say that for me, men cry in a different way, right? But, I'll leave for him to tell it. But I cried a lot.
5 years worth of crying.
5 years. So I think Christopher said on here, I saw you said when you saw us in DC, we looked like we were already married. Actually, we had just reconnected, and we'll go through the timeline, but we had just reconnected after not speaking for months, like not at all,
Yeah.
blocked, all of that.
It's crazy.
And so we had just reconnected, not knowing where things, would lead. But so we were just friends. We were just friends.
And so timeline, this is 2019 when we got the word, and then 2020 hits. 2020 hits, we go into a pandemic. My father dies during that time. I go through so much with the ministry. And so also what was against us, not just age, not just ministry, complications, not just the prophecy, but also timing. What happens like when timing happens? And so in 2020, during the pandemic, we broke up.
Yep.
That was the first time we broke up. It's in 2020, and she went her way, I went my way. And it's 9:43, so we can't tell it all. But it was devastating.
It was devastating. We definitely went through bouts of
Coming back,
on and
talking.
off type of thing. And so I don't know where you want to go with this, because we do want to be mindful of time in terms of, of that. But we'll say this, leading into that, right? We talk about this, are we together? Are we not together? How do we move forward? One of the challenges for us was that we were friends at the core.
Yeah,
We used to call each other spirit mates. We still do now, but that was one of our first, that's my spirit mate, because we really connected by the Spirit of
Take your
God
time.
before anything. Hey, Mel.
We'll go to about 10:15.
All right, 10:15.
Okay.
All right. So, we had a lot of on and off, but we were friends at the core. So we figured, we're not together.
We can still be
We can still
homies.
be friends. We can still be homies. But that was a very difficult thing. So that's the title: status
Versus behavior.
versus behavior.
It's kind of a dangerous thing too, because our status for most of the 5 years we weren't together for the most of the 5 years, but there were times where we behaved like we were together,
Yeah.
but our status was of single. And so, let's just be honest, the way guys operate when they're single and the way women operate, especially when you've been connected to somebody, for me, it was very different, because if I'm single, I'm single. But when we're connected and hanging out, sometimes we didn't behave like we were single. So I can take accountability and say that I sent missed messages, because I know that we're struggling to go through
You gotta take accountability.
Let me tell you, mature.
That's why I married you.
See, she's so stupid.
That's big.
Let me tell you, my mentor, Reverend Bernard, says that there's 4 things that God calls us to steward. No. Let me go to another one. Reverend Bernard says that there's 4 things that women want from a man. Number 1 is maturity. Jot it down. Number 2 is decisiveness. Number 3 is consistency. Number 4 is strength. So maturity isn't, I can pay all my bills, I live alone, blah, 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 blah. Maturity starts when somebody takes accountability. And so for me, the accountability is, hey, we were single. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I'm single. If this is not the one, let me go find who she is. But at the same time, we come together, there'd be times that, hey, it feels just like home. It feels like how we used to be. And so what happened is, because in my mind, I'm single, her mind, we're single, but there's still connection. And again, I couldn't deny the connection, but also I'm very much, hey, this is the status. So I'm free to do what I want to do, but it hurt her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really made things confusing. And so me being a brother, just gonna be honest, like the accountability is our status is one thing, but our behavior was something else. And so when you brothers, like when you're single, your behavior has to kind of acquiesce to that same status, because you will end up harming and hurting that person, because in your mind you're like, I'm single, I can talk to this person, that person, and in essence you can, but if you're going to do that, you cannot be single and do all that and then still come back and be like, hey, da da da. Nah, man, you gotta it has to be black or white.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think for me, where even though that was in his head and his mind, and he knew that, and I knew that we were not
What's up, everybody coming in?
technically together, right? We were not technically together at the point, but I was still feeding off of his love, right? Because I was still getting the compliments. I was still getting, hey, let's hang out. I was still, and honestly, because we broke up and we had already talked about you the one, we getting married type of thing, you couldn't pay me to think that this man was going out on dates so fast. I'm just being honest. I was in denial because I'm home crying, broken, and he was crying, he cried too. Can I tell you that you cried?
So let me just say this.
Dang!
No. I'm gonna say this because men and women do, and this is really a good thing, especially for brothers who'll be honest. We kind of digest and get over things differently. For me, trying to get over her, because I knew there was prophecy, so this couldn't be my wife. Hey, the word of the Lord. Some of my people that I looked up to, preachers, were like, "No, you need to marry that other one you were with. You don't need to." So I'm like, okay, if this is not my wife, instead of me being heartbroken, maybe I can get over her by hanging out with somebody else.
It's real.
And so that is my way. That was my way. And many brothers can say that sometimes recreation is a way to get over. But in actuality, it's not.
I wish I knew I'd have been recreational too.
Come on. Julia said we're taught to keep it playing. Yeah, that's sometimes like our environment. We're taught to like, hey, all right, let's just try to get a distraction. Let's try to maybe if this is not it, I just need to find it. And so that's kind of where my mind was. But it was.
And I think it's fair. I think it's important that, as he's saying, and encouraging men as well, to be very clear about that. Right.
Yeah,
I think
that's
as he
true.
already owned up to it, he wasn't really clear about that.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
kept it very like, when it's me and him, it's me and him. It wasn't like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to hang, I'm dating. We weren't at that stage yet. It was still very sensitive. And so for me, I'm thinking like, well, we got that prophecy or whatever. I know we're not together, but maybe there's still an opportunity and chance. So I'm thinking he's so heartbroken. Not that he wasn't heartbroken. Again, he explained it. He expressed it in a different way. But I'm like, oh, you all on my phone, in my face, right? Like you still
in my phone, in my
about
face,
me,
in
and
my-
I didn't know. You was up in other people's faces too. So I didn't learn this until later, and I want to encourage women, right? First of all, never be in denial. Like never think that just because you home crying your eyes out, that the male is doing the same thing. Let's just be real.
This is what I did. I cried
right.
before I went out.
There was a comma to it. There was a.
We put on
He's
I was making a
an actor.
reservation.
Reservation. Hello.
I'm on my way.
You see the nonsense, bro.
If you think he's hanging out with somebody else, he's hanging out with
He's hanging out with somebody else. You're thinking right. So everybody's
Terry
different.
said I pressed my way.
You pressed your way. He definitely pressed his way.
Woo!
Look, and then probably called me after the date. But anyway, that's a whole
Probably.
nother other story. So I do want to encourage us women, right? Yes, and make the decision, unless you're going to be
Yeah.
very upfront, right? And I think you should be upfront. I didn't ask the questions. I assumed. But I should have been asking the questions. All right, well, so I know we're not together, but if we're not together, right? Like,
Say it,
Are
Jamal.
you dating other people? Are you seeing other people?
Clear
so that
questions.
I can have clear conversations.
Yeah.
So that you are not
Come on.
hurt on the back end because you know that everything
Yeah.
was put out, in the front, up front, and you know what you can handle. Hold
Take
on,
a baby break. Jamel said something so good. He said, "Men mask it by doing other stuff. Recreation," and I say this, and I was playing and joking, but in all honesty, sometimes recreation is what helps us to heal. We get out. For me, I need to get out the house. I can't stay because if I'm in the house, I'm gonna ruminate. I'm gonna be emotional. So I just need to get out. And for me, being a pastor, let me just say this: me staying in the house, I'll get myself in trouble. So for me, it wasn't just like dating. It was like, hey, let me go to the movie. Let me go play ball. Let me go bowling. Let me do. And if I hang out with people, let me just kind of just. Because if I'm in my house, I don't want to pick up my phone and call somebody, and then that person make me feel better. I'd rather just be recreational, be outside, hang out, because I'm in my apartment by myself, and I don't need to be bringing company back. So like it's like let me get out, let me do this, let me do. So, it was a very challenging time. You see that from that first picture that we showed you guys. This is now like 5 years later, and so some of the things that we've been through during that time, we dated, we did the bridge, and that was 2019. This is like when we first got together, and it was unexpected, but my wife helped me to put this thing together that we did. It was amazing. This is the first time where we told each other that we loved each other. But in the midst of these challenges, you can tell this picture, babe.
Well, no, that was the time that I told you I was in love with you.
Yeah. Because we always say we love, but we just
No. This is we talking real. He was telling me he was in love with me, y'all, and I was like, yeah, I love you
I don't
too.
want them to see your face. Let me just let them see the
Dang, you a hater. He was in love with me, y'all, and I wasn't there yet. Okay, but this day, real quick, we were before we went into the restaurant, we were in the car waiting to go inside.
Let me
And
show the
so
pictures.
we were being very lovey-dovey, and so
Ew, what?
lovey-dovey,
That's
and
gross.
so you want to say bird? And so, oh Lord, this child.
So, yeah.
wait, now let me finish.
Okay,
So you
okay.
you want to move on because you don't want to.
But you see how she was looking at me.
Anyway, okay, I was. So I realized it was cute though. So this Karen came over. Let's keep it real. She's like knocks on the window and knocks on the door of the window, and she's like, "Hi, yeah, are you guys okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're fine." She said, "Oh yeah, because I just noticed that you were in the I don't even know." And I was just like, "What?" I was like, "No, don't worry, we're fine. We're just in love." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, did I just tell this man I'm in? Did I just
She
tell
did.
this lady?
Freudian slip.
that
You see
I-
how she did that?
Anyway, so that's when I realized I actually was in love with that. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So just
Oh,
tell
you
the
said
truth.
the other picture.
Shame the devil. So, long story short, because we're gonna have to really kind of do another thing on another live on status versus behavior because this is good. But we did reconnect. Finally, we reconnected after the long story short, we don't have time
Yeah.
to talk about it
Yeah.
now. But we'll
There was a
just
couple of
say
break- there was a break
couple of
up or two.
breaks on and offs. We did marriage counseling with our mentor Reverend A.R. Bernard, and one of the things that he said is, in order for us, if peace is not there, we need to break up. This was 2023, 2022, 2023, 2023. No, 2020. It was 2020, yeah, 2023.
23.
Yeah. And so we broke up for the last time, quote unquote, in 2023, the top of 2023. Stopped talking for a couple of months. And this time we had to be clear. No following each other on social media. We mutually blocked each other because every time we tried to like block each other, stop talking and try to do the friend thing, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So she's the one said, I can't follow you if we're gonna do this. I
No
can't
more
see
cycles.
your pictures. We have too many mutual friends. We can't talk. We can't. And I was like, all right, we agreed. We cut it off. And for months, we didn't even talk to each other. So we talked to each other. We didn't see each other.
Block. If he tried to call me, I would not know.
Yep. And that was it. And then we end up November. This is November of 2023. We end up seeing each other. This is last year. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
November of 2023, we saw each other. And we're going to have to kind of talk about how we reconnected. We'll go through that in part 2. Warren knows how we reconnected because it was at Warren Hicks's installation service.
Yep.
So we'll have to talk about how we reconnected. But let's talk about the rules to reconnecting.
Yeah.
Because for me, in order for us to reconnect, because I was the one initially who got all the prophecies, who got all that stuff. And so I needed to have peace. For me, peace needed to be the umpire. But for her, it was more. Like, she didn't just have the walls up. She had, like, one of them Trump walls. That's
Jericho walls.
She had the Jericho walls. She had the Jericho walls up. So what were the rules for you to reconnect? Because would have been the third time we tried.
Sure.
Third time we tried to date.
Okay. So she said,
Wait.
don't tell me in 20. No.
No.
23.
This is no.
20
No. This was 2022. Yeah. Because we got married in 2023.
Oh, that's right. 22. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You see that people keep
Keep
it
us-
up.
keep
Keep it up.
Ain't no dates better than us.
Terry said from being blocked to being her Boaz. Come on, let me tell you, this is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah, so we're gonna have to tell you how we got back together. There'll be part 2. We're gonna have to do
Yeah, because that's a story in itself.
When I mean a story, how God will take one prophecy how God will allow one prophecy to break us up, and then allow prophecy plus blah 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 blah, blah to get us back.
She said y'all would leave Quanda said y'all would really leave us with the what, when, and how.
Well, we got the where. No, she didn't say where. She said what, when.
What,
So
when, how.
the when is 2022 November. Jamel said the real question is, would y'all do it over again? The breakup block, was it effective? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's do this because it is 10 o'clock. We're going to be mindful of the time. Are we going to do
No, we can't do how
part
we.
2?
Yeah,
No,
we're
sorry,
gonna
we're
do
gonna.
part two. Yeah,
all right, so we're gonna do a part 2. So we'll answer a couple of questions now, and we'll go into the how we reconnected, and the rules to
reconnecting.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get into a couple of some other things. What? So
Okay.
all right, Mel's question. The real question: would y'all do it all over again? The break and block, was it effective? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do it all over again. Yes. For this results,
Yeah.
little John Carl over there is trying to sleep and we just being loud. But yes. But it was super painful. More so for me as a female than him. But it was super painful. So I like, yes, I would do it again kind of thing. But I would. The block was extremely helpful.
Jayla said the part 2 tomorrow.
Level 2, part 2. We'll let you know. We'll let you know. So, part 2. The block for me was definitely on some like I can't repeat any cycles at this
Yeah.
stage of my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we waste too much time in certain places hoping for things to change, and it is to each his own, right? Because on one side you are saying, I really believe this outcome. I believe this is going to happen. I believe what the Lord told me. At the same time, you are not in control of the scenario and the feelings and reactions. And so you have to make the best choices within those moments. But you also have to be very careful to not compromise time. You have to be careful not to compromise yourself in that just because you believe in a certain outcome. And I feel like for me, I was starting to compromise who I was because I had so much belief and hope in the outcome that I believe God had said, but it looked completely opposite. And so the block for me was incredibly important so that I could recalibrate. I could get back to self. I could get my mind and thoughts off of this person. We know this phrase, right? That what you fuel, will grow, or what you feed will grow.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this gotta die. The feelings, it gotta die, because if he's not the one, then I need to make room for the person who is. And oftentimes we're entertaining the wrong people at the wrong time, when God is trying to prepare us for what is right.
And let's be real. T is in her 40s. She's like, yo, if this ain't it, I don't have time. You have time, but maybe I don't, societally, right?
Right.
To those standards. And so, like, there's some really good questions in here. I'm trying to go. Let me see. Kendra said, do you have those moments of having your wall up, and how do you get past those moments? It's so crazy. When we had our anniversary this past year, last week Monday, she said, I feel at peace. I feel at peace. And so we want to be clear that it's still a process.
Yeah.
It's still a process. Just like when you get saved, you're saved, you love the Lord, but you still have to go through a purification process. When you get married, you have to undo, because we were never intimate. Like, we never had intercourse before we got married. So I couldn't come into the marriage. I wasn't a virgin. My wife, almost a virgin. Part two. I couldn't,
My Lord, John Carl calling me.
I couldn't come into the marriage thinking like she was Shaquisha. I couldn't come into the marriage like treating her, and this is on a serious note, fellas, like treating her like she was somebody, or expecting her to be like somebody else that I had been with in my past. And so, like, these moments take time. What did Terry said? My question is, with both of you being in ministry, how did you keep people out of your business? Should we adjust this? Do we have time?
Yeah.
Let's just go.
All right.
All right. So
It's 10:02.
this is
Did
actually.
we say 10:15?
Yeah, we said 10:15. So this is actually such a great. So Edna said, Pastor T said she cried a lot, but Pastor Alex, I actually did cry. I cried. I teared up. It's so funny because my mother, and she can attest to this, she says, wow. She said to me in 2023 when I got married, she said, you look like a totally different person in 2023 than you looked in 2022. She says, because when I looked at you, I saw stress and unhappiness in 2022. So I may not have been crying publicly, but I wore it on my face. I looked like stress. I looked like heaviness. And so literally, like, it weighs on you. Terry said, how did we deal with this being in ministry? This is such a great question. We dated privately.
So we
dated.
Oh, that's why you said it.
We dated privately. I want to tell everybody who is. What'd you say?
I said, are we getting into part two?
Okay, so.
Go ahead. You want to tell everybody what?
All right, I'm just gonna say this. If you're a leader, if you're a public figure, if you're in ministry, I can't say this enough. Date privately. Like, you know why? Because I knew. Let me just speak as a pastor. And then we're gonna talk about secret versus private dating, but we'll probably have to say that for part two. But we had to date privately because I knew as a pastor that as soon as I posted, hey, this girl is my girlfriend, my church was already going to crown her first lady. Especially this one. If I said, hey, this is my girlfriend, they were all going to be like, oh, our first lady. Like, I already knew. Like, people were already going to place the expectation on me and on her. So, yeah, we can't talk about this situation. Let's go back, because we're gonna have to save that for a separate show. Part two, secret dating versus private dating. What's the difference? We'll talk about that. All right, so rules to reconnecting. Let's go back. Because we got 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left. You see how our son is already regulating the time. Yeah. So we reconnected. You want to talk?
I'm so confused. We trying to figure this out. So Yeah, no. I thought we were going to talk about that in part 2 because now
Yeah. Let's talk
then we
about
have
it
to
in
figure
part
out
two.
then what
Let's
to
do
talk
this.
to.
Let's do this. Let's go for some Q&As because
Yeah, that's
we
what I thought
want
we
to
were
talk
doing.
about so many things, y'all. We have this whole thing regulated, but we're gonna have to save it for part 2. So this is what we're gonna do. Q&A. We want to ask you guys any questions that you guys have
Regarding those.
regarding some of the things that we talked about. Maybe some things that you have questions about or some things that you guys are dealing with. We wanted to kind of save time for that. And then part 2, we have some other things about green lights, red flags. We're going to talk about it all. But yeah, any questions that you guys have for us, and then we'll literally, we'll give you guys the ability to kind of ask questions. We're going to ask you guys to place your questions in the chat. Hold on. Still trying to learn this thing. All right. Where's Imani when you need her? Okay. Place your questions in the chat. Let's see what questions we have that we can kind of answer in the next couple of minutes. All right. Imani said, y'all got points to this like we're in Bible study. Yes. Jalen says, I was so happy when I found out that the sneaker preacher was our first lady. Yes. Thank God. She's amazing, isn't she? Candace said, just flow. I'm enjoying this. All right. Aretha says, would you still consider counsel from those who told you to marry someone else, or do you mutually agree on who you receive counsel from? So let's just say this. Because of the confusion, one of our mentors said to us, you need to connect with Reverend A.R. Bernard. Because his ministry specifically is geared, and his wisdom is specifically geared towards marriage. And the thing is, if anybody knows Reverend Bernard, not to name drop, but if anybody knows Reverend Bernard, he counsels people who are influential. Our situation was very peculiar because we have a little bit of influence, just a little bit. And that's not being like, we're not being, what is that word? Like pompous, or we're not practicing false humility, but we understand who we are, right? And so we knew that just anybody, there are people who speak into our lives who weren't creditable. And what I mean is they were anointed, but they weren't anointed to counsel us. Mm-hmm. They're grace for what they do. And let me just say this really clear. The person who gave us a prophecy is anointed. The person is accurate many times in the prophetic, but they weren't anointed for us. So Reverend Bernard had to counsel us and was the right person to counsel us. Yeah. Because he literally walked us through systematically, not spooky, not all that stuff. So that was a great person to counsel us.
There was a question, so like maybe one or two questions. How do you do this?
Let's go this way.
Oh, okay. There were two questions. Oh, Lord. One was from Alana and another from Chanel.
So Chanel says, let's put her question up on screen.
We got 5 minutes.
Oh, we got 5 minutes. Okay. Would you change about your journey?
Hi, Chanel. Pastor Chanel, by the way.
Your journey if you had to do it all again. That's crazy. Probably ensure that our behavior matched our status.
Yeah, definitely.
That did a lot of harm with not setting those boundaries.
Caused a lot of confusion, harm, and unnecessarily. And
it caused us to have to work harder when we reconnected.
Yes.
Let me see. Alana says, do you think it's important to establish rules of engagement and express romantic interest at the start of the friendship? Or do you think it's not necessary because you could gradually grow into romantic interest as friends? I think you have to be organic, because we honestly were just friends, but when there was an attraction, she's the one who mentioned, hey, what is this? And then we had to literally like dive into what this was. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I definitely would say be organic. I know sometimes, and I'll probably say for women, and men have a challenge with, they already come in it with motives, or they already know that they're attracted to somebody and they're like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to, right? I think it's important to be honest, and at the right time, but definitely not going too long without being honest about where you are with that person, because that's unfair to the person if you are not sharing that. And then also, we can't be naive, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
we're grown folk. We know when somebody's attracted to us. We know when
Grown
somebody
folk,
likes us.
no L, folk.
Folk. We know when people like each other, right? Like,
Yeah.
and we like to try to ignore those things. Oh, it's not. And it's like, you know. And oftentimes we're selfish in that, well, he might like me, but I don't want to say nothing because, I don't want things to change.
Ooh.
We are nervous about things changing with what was established, in fear of losing, and you're going to create more pain for yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So I think it's important that if there is something in the onset, that you pray for the right timing to say it or express it, or address those things. Like, listen, I noticed that we X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
What's up, right? And then you can have that conversation.
Yeah. Shantae, we love you too. Somebody said, how do we find time? These are good. I want to kind of save where we are now and how we balance now, probably for part 2. But let me see. Who else? Chris Kenny says, whose basketball game is better? Come on, you already know that. Don't play.
We're gonna do a one-on-one live. I'm not pregnant right now, so we're gonna do a one-on-one live.
Listen, y'all. Part 2. If you guys want a part 2, let us know in the chat. I think some of y'all want a part 2. If you want a part 2,
we didn't tell a full story.
Oh yeah, we didn't tell the full story. So we have a part 2 to go. Listen, hit the share button. Let somebody know that we were live. We'll keep this up for 24 hours, and then you'll have to subscribe to our YouTube channel, y'all. If you go to YouTube and type in a Williams to Remember, please log on and subscribe to our YouTube channel, a Williams to Remember. All right, yes, we're gonna go into part 2. This may just be on YouTube. We'll try to figure it out. Yeah, and if you guys inbox us if you guys know some questions or some topics that you want to talk about. That'll really be cool. Some things that you're kind of working through. We may not do this next week, but I can kind of see 2 weeks from now, before September is over, probably possibly doing a number 2 or whatnot. But subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll see some content there already, like our honeymoon. You'll see some stuff there. And some other content that we're going to put up this week. But we love you guys. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for all your prayers and all that good stuff. And yeah.
And thank you for showing up. We honestly thought to do this because it was our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, we made it.
We made it with a baby. With a
that
baby
crazy?
bonus. With a bonus of a baby.
Crazy.
So yeah, it was our 1-year anniversary, so we thought to share our story. And we have so many people that just come up to us, and you guys are inspired, which was actually one of my prayers. That I think if you watched our video, that 8-minute video, go back and watch it. I say that, I think one of the questions was, what do you hope to get out of this marriage? And for me, it was that people would be inspired, and know that God his hand is on it. So, we thank you for showing up. We didn't really know what this outcome would be, where we're going with it. So we're just going with the flow.
Yeah, we had about 120 people on here engaged. And
family. We love you guys.
Yeah.
And we wanted to share this story with you guys. So
until next time.
Clearly, we did not intend to do a part 2, but we're going to, y'all say part 2, we're going to do part 2.
And we got the name. The name is Love on Live.
Love on Live.
Love on Live. Just put it in the chat. Love on Live. We'll talk about it live. It's our love. It's on live. And until next time, peace, y'all. Love
Bye.
You. Love
See
you
you
guys.
next time.
See you next time. What we gonna put up? We gotta put up a picture or something to end this thing. Let me see. What's a good picture? Oh no! Watch this.
Oh.
Love y'all.
Looking guy.
I knew that she was the one because not only did I pray for her, I honestly, truly couldn't see my life without her.
Looking guy.
I knew that she was the one because not only did I pray for her, I honestly, truly couldn't see my life without her.
One of the first indications, I didn't know at the time, but he had sent me a video of him at his church, and he was exhorting. And when I saw him exhorting, I literally saw myself, and my spirit just was like leaping. And I'm like, what is this? And I closed the computer immediately. I never felt that before. I never experienced that before. I never saw myself in someone else while they were in worship. And I was like, okay, I didn't take too much of it, but I also kept it in the back of my mind.
And to be honest, sometimes when you're trying to figure this out, sometimes you try not to. You know, you try to look and think that you can move on. And I just realized that she's literally God sent for me.
I remember telling God, the man that is my husband is going to know that I'm his missing piece without me having to tell him. And sure enough, I don't remember the exact distance of time, but Alex was at a conference and he sent me a text and said, "You're my missing piece." And I was like, wait, what? And I just was like, God, you know what? I never told him that. I was feeling it. And so, yeah, from there, you know, God just began to, you know, draw us closer. And for me, then it was kind of a no-brainer.
I thought about literally, I would be married to somebody else thinking about her every single day of my life. And I knew that if I didn't marry her, it would be the